Hey guys, welcome to Proverbs of Praise. So excited that you guys are here with me. Cannot wait to share. This will be the first installment of my journey of faith. So I don't know where I'm going from here, as you can tell by the title. Lots of things are going on in my life, and I'm super excited to share that with you. I'm at the very beginning. So this is the precipice where everything takes off from here. And I have really no plans from here. I just have a yes. I'm being obedient to God and trying to go from there. So this channel will be really inspired by faith, about my faith and God, where God is taking me and what He lays on my heart. So by the title, I think you're probably wondering, like, yes, by now I should be doing something like this, you know what I'm saying? Hey. You guys, I'm really great. A little bit of background. So clearly from the title, you recognize that things are changing in my life. I am a teacher. I am a second year teacher. I currently teach 5th grade math in a metropolitan area in the United States. And this will be my last year. Surprise, surprise, right? Both to you and to me. So a little bit of background about myself. I graduated with my bachelor's in sociology and public administration and policy. I went through Teach for America. So if you're not familiar with that, it's an alternative teaching certification program. So it allows for individuals who do not have a degree in education to be able to, through alternative measures, through still definitely getting educated on what it means to be a teacher. We have a really intensive institute and what else? Weekly modules that we have to undergo through different programs to make sure we're certified and ready to be a strong teacher. So if you guys want to talk, that's a whole nother thing. I know when I say that name, there's a lot of things that come up. Trust me, the same things came up for me when I first applied to the program, but that was God-led as well. So if you have questions about that or you guys want me to do a video on that, let me know. But this is about my journey, really trusting God. So as I said, my degree was in public administration and policy and sociology. So I love people, love working with people, have worked with kids my entire life, through like babysitting, through going to classes and volunteering weekly. And so did a lot of after school programs, summer camps, all that stuff. Was super involved with that, loved kids. Ultimately, God led me to Teach for America. I thought that I wanted to work in policy. So I worked with Congress and did a lot of policy work and thought, great, you know what? I think before I get into education policy, it's very important that I recognize what it means to have policy implemented. So whether that is being a teacher first and then being an administrator and figuring out like what policy looks like, going from the bottom up, I thought that was super valuable. As I recognize teaching, and through my teaching experience, policy wasn't necessarily it, okay? I just recognized it wasn't necessarily for me. All the daily stress, the pressure, just all of those things aren't things I'm particularly interested in. So I knew that teaching would be temporary for me. I felt like it was an avenue for God really show me ultimately what He wanted to do, and that's the very thing that happens. So I was able to, through teaching, recognize that I do have a passion for kids. I love specifically my brown and black babies. I love them so dearly. The area that I'm in, I have recognized that so many of our babies experience such trauma. I mean, like generational trauma through natural disasters, all of those things, and it affects the way that they think, the way that they interact and process information very heavily. Therefore, I recognized my passion was in trauma. Speed it up. So God laid that on my heart. Ultimately, I want to go and get my doctorate in, I'm deciding between psychology in general, but if it's school psychology or social psychology. So that's my goal. I want to apply in 2018. So I'm applying this year in 2017 at the ends, and then it'll be for next year for 2018. So I was already knowing, a year out what God had told me to do. Great, God, I got it. No problem. I was expecting to teach for another year. And about a month and a half ago, I would say, I had a day that was completely overwhelming. I am a teacher, as you know, as I've already shared, but I also am very involved in ministry at my church. So I lead a small young women's group weekly at my house. It's actually today in a few hours. I also lead the greeting team at my church, and do a lot of other things outside of that. And I love it. I love people. I love hearing people's experiences, encouraging them, supporting them. But I felt like because of my job, I was being pulled in so many directions. I was making sure I was trying to make sure as much as I can to stay prayed up, to like go there. We about to get it today, y'all. But ultimately, I did not feel like I was able to be my best self. I felt like so many things are being pulled out of me, and I couldn't do the other things, the responsibilities that God also gave me to do. Not only that, I wasn't motivated like I was when I first started. You know, my kids deserve the best. They deserve someone who is super, first of all, you know, super ready to just be creative and do creative things with them. And not that I'm not there, like I'm still a teacher, I'm still going to give 100%. But I recognize that that's no longer like where I want my focus and passion to be. And honestly, I'm a testing grade. So 5th grade math is very important. It's actually foundational. So many things built on 5th grade math. And so when you don't have those skills, that's real, you know? It sets them up for failure. And as a testing grade, it was a grade that I recognized like a lot of heavy importance on, and I didn't get to see them as kids and enjoy their presence as much as focusing on getting this curriculum done, getting this done. And so I'm so grateful for that experience, but ultimately God called me out of that. Ultimately, you have to decide between the good thing and the God thing. Sometimes there's going to be opportunities in your life where this is a good thing. It doesn't make sense to people why I would give this up. You know, this is next year I would have the opportunity to teach 50 kids, and right now I teach 112. I would have 50 kids that I've taught before, I taught the previous year, and I'd also be getting a raise, right? So all these things in my head, I'm like, God, like, hey, we getting it, God, let's go. But ultimately, God was just showing me, like, Taylin, I actually called you out of that. You know, I called you to be obedient to me, and I had to decide, like, what was the good thing versus the God thing. Yes, this is good. You know what? This is good. It's a good thing. I was excited about it, but God made me recognize that he has something better for me. You know, when I'm obedient, I don't know what that better is. I don't have the next steps. I want you guys to be on that journey with me, trying to figure it out, trying to be obedient, trying to trust him when, man, y'all, it's rough. You know, this is my first job out of college. I had a lot of job experience previously, a lot of internships and things like that, but my first actual job experience, day in, day out, I am working, I am getting a paycheck, okay? And so it's definitely been a learning experience. I had to tell my principal, and it did not go as planned, okay, at all. I'll tell you about that story sometime a little later, but ultimately everything happens for a reason and the way it's supposed to happen. So I'm just on this journey of faith and trusting God. I recognize for me that obedience is greater than sacrifice. It's more important for me to be obedient to God than to sacrifice my time, my soul, everything, my patience, my peace, most importantly, because of something that I think is good. So I'm really trusting God in this and being able to recognize, man, wherever you have me, Lord, I trust you. My hands are up. I'm surrendering to you completely. So I don't know if you're in a season in your life where you're having to trust God for something, or you're having to be patient, but I just really encourage you to allow God to completely take control of that. I prayed. I went on vacation recently and prayed for God to just show me, give me confirmation that this is what he wanted me to do. So the next day, he showed me 1 Thessalonians 5:24, and I want to share that with you today. The New International Version reads, "The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it." The New Living Translation reads, "God will make this happen, for he who calls you is faithful." And so God clearly answered my prayer the next day and just reminded me, Taylin, that I've called you. Not only have I called you, but I'm faithful for you. I'm faithful. Like, you can trust me to do it. And so here I am trusting God. He's faithful. That's what I have to remember when it gets challenging, when it gets hard, and it is all those things, that God called me to do it. So I can't worry about what anyone says. I can't worry about what my family says, what my coworkers think about me. I'm doing this because ultimately my eyes and my vision is based on eternity, right? So when is my time to leave this earth? I want him to look in my face and tell me, like, well done, my good and faithful servant, that you've done exactly as I asked you to do. And so maybe it's not deep for some people, but it's that deep for me because my faith is that important to me and obeying what God has called me to do. So whatever season you're in, I pray that you would just continue to be faithful to what God is asking you to do. Share below if you've ever been in a season where you've been on this journey of faith. Was that looks like for you. Or maybe you've been in a season where, you know, you've had to be obedient and choose that God thing over the good thing. How have you done that? Give us some encouragement. Give me some insight. Love to hear from you. This is the first installment of this series, so can't wait to have you back. Thank you.